Welcome to this series of videos again. In this video we're going to create two different parts and we're going to see how to make an assembly of them. So in this first video we're going to see how to create the first one. So go to top plane, sketch, we're going to make a simple rectangle. The rectangle is going to have 50 millimeters. And 200 millimeters. Finish exit sketch and extruded boss base, give it 4 millimeters. Okay. Select the top surface, sketch. First draw a center line in the middle. Exit, draw another center line. And give the small dimension between the two. Give the dimension is equal to 70 millimeters. Click OK and exit. Come to the isometric view. Go to right plane, reference and plane. Going to create another plane, and the first plane is the reference first. And the second reference is this, and then create parallel, then OK. Come to the new created plane and sketch. I'm going to create a first cycle. I'm going to create a first cycle of the diameter is equal to 10 millimeters. Going to give it 10 millimeters diameter, and the length between the base and the center, we're going to keep it to 35 millimeters. We're going to draw the first line from the quadrants. Escape. So we're going to draw another center line from the middle to there and use mirror entities to mirror this, and using this axis that we draw. Mirror entities, this is the entity to mirror, and this is the and then OK. So we're going to use offsetting properties. We're going to offset this cycle to 3.5 millimeters. And from there, we're going to trim entities. Take trim entities and trim entities. And power trim, and I'm going to remove the parts of the lines inside the cycles. And draw the last line to join the two last points. Then escape. Come back to 3D. Exit sketch and extrusion. We're going to extrude different elements, and we're going to extrude our mid plane. First one is going to be 3 millimeters. And we're going to select this contour and this one. Select OK. Come back to the sketch number 6. Extruded boss base. This time I'm going to have 4.5 millimeters. Again, mid plane, and select this inner surface so you have kind of a preview of what it looks like. And then OK. So basically we have our 3D geometry here. The next thing we're going to do is to copy this geometry to the other side of the element. So what we do is we go to right plane and come come to mirror. To ask it remains to mirror, we're going to copy the first one and the second element, and then okay. So we have our basic geometry. Come back to the up surface and sketch. So we're going to draw a center rectangle. I'm going to use a center rectangle from the center to here. It will be just for construction. Okay, then small dimensions. This dimension is going to be 20 millimeters. Let's say 30 millimeters. And this dimension is going to be 175 millimeters. And then after the exit sketch, come back to the 3D dimension and go to Hole Wizard. Choose this type of the hole. So we have the countable. Scroll down and choose 1 to 8 and through all positions, just position the 4 points that we have seen. First point, second point, third point. And then fourth point, and then click OK. So we have our model, which is slowly taking its form. So you can basically delete, you can basically try to hide those elements later on. So if I come back here again, we're going to give fillets. So we're going to give 3 millimeters fillets on the four corners of the main rectangles. So if you keep that and then go through, we're going to propose this, and then that's okay. Click OK. So the 4 edges now have the fillets. We have 2 other more fillets to apply here. So we have 2 millimeters fillet to apply to the first edge, second edge, fourth edge, and the last one. And then click OK. So we kind of have our 3D model now ready. So what we do is we're going to save it. File savers, and I'm going to save it on the P1, which means piece 1. Go to P1 and then save. So the second drawing that we're going to do is, to design a bar which can go through those 2 walls and go all the way. So create new, and then new part. Go to top plane again, right click sketch. So after that, we're going to create a cycle. The cycle is basically going to be of the diameter lower than the other one that we've drawn. So I'm going to give it 8 millimeters of diameter, 8.5. It's a 9 millimeters. And then exit, extrusion, exit and extrude, and select the sketch one, come to the extrusion, and going to extrude mid-plane and give it 200 millimeters. And okay, so we have what, second part basically, and file save as P2. So now that we have two parts, we can basically create an assembly. I'm going to go to new, make an assembly from part. So I have part 1 and part 2, so I'm going to take part 1, drag and drop to the so just drag and drop the part 1 and go to the insert, go to part 2 and drag and drop part 2 so you can move it and place it. So once we have the two parts, now we have to mate to create versions. So make the sections. I'm going to select this element and zoom in and select the second surface inside the holes, and you kind of have a proposal already. So we can make it concentric, or we can basically have a kind of set of options where we can choose. We have those are the basic elements, so we can either choose to lock we can either choose to lock components together. We can make a distance. Let's say we put a distance of let's say we make a minimum distance of let's say we make a minimum distance of 0.5, 0.01 millimeter. And again, click yes. And then exit. So I come back to mate. Select this surface. Select this one and concentric. Give the concentric one. Now we can drag and drop our elements to move it along. So I'm going to make it more visual. We can basically come to parts, select part 1 and then change its appearance. Let's make it some kind of this color. And then select part 2 and give it a more shiny color to show very that we have two different pieces. So let's make it blue. And here we go. So now we have our assembly here with those two elements that we can remove. So if I select this element, kind of move along. So in mating, you have other different options that you can really explore. There are possibilities to start in motion, and that's very, very useful.